Their first fight was thrilling.
Maidana all over Mayweather.
Action-packed.
Look at this display by Floyd Mayweather.
The toughest fight of Floyd Mayweather's career.
What a fantastic fight.
So on September 13th, Floyd Mayweather and Marcos Maidana do it again.
Te voy a terminar.
Bring it on, amigo.
Mayhem. Mayweather versus Maidana 2. Saturday, September 13th at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, live on pay-per-view.
Fort Charlotte MP Dr. Andre Rollins says he doesn't care about securing another PLP nomination. Detention center detainees try to set the facility on fire. Plus, the newest Defense Force boat arrives to port, and thousands of books donated to the nation's schools. We've got those stories and more coming up tonight. I'm Dana Smith, and MB12 starts right now. Happy news tonight. Outspoken Fort Charlotte MP Dr. Andre Rollins says if he does not secure a PLP nomination for the next general election, he may consider running for another political party or as an independent. He also slammed those PLPs who he claims are promoting their own political agenda by supporting propagandist websites. However, he says he doesn't have time to suffer fools. Vonnie Toot reports.
Amid rampant speculation over his future in the Progressive Liberal Party, Dr. Andre Rollins says he has three options if he doesn't secure another party nomination. This after he went on the attack again last evening, asserting that the government's hypocrisy could cost the PLP the next general election.
How can we say that civil servants who go on strike will result in the government seeing to it that they are fired from their precious jobs because by their actions they are breaking the law? But in the next voice, come in here and say that Bahamians who have admittedly broken the law by engaging in illegal gaming will not just keep their businesses, but be legitimized by that very same government. The hypocrisy, Mr. Speaker, of that and the message that it sends to the public will be enough in and of itself to cause the government to be fired at the next general election.
It's comments like this that have prompted several cabinet ministers to lash out at Rollins, with Minister of State for National Security Keith Bell calling on the Fort Charlotte MP to resign his seat and run as an independent. Rollins has said he is still a PLP, but told NB12 today that if the party decides it no longer wants him, then so be it.
If you refuse me a nomination, one of two things can happen. Either I do not run. I say actually three things. Either I choose not to run again, or secondly, I choose to run independently, or thirdly, I run for another political party.
And is that something you would consider, running for another political party?
That is not something that my mind is considering at this time. I'm not considering that. But if you put a man or a woman in a situation where he has no alternative, you have to expect that that is a possibility.
Both the FNM and DNA have expressed an interest in Rollins. However, he says he has not met with any of them and claims he is not the political vagabond his critics say he is. However, Rollins did accuse certain members of the PLP of supporting propagandist social media sites, which he says have tried to discredit him for being outspoken both publicly and in private party meetings.
I take exception to the propagandists which exist and which are supported by members of the Progressive Liberal Party. I want the public to find out who is behind Bahamas Press. I want the public to ask those very important questions, because when you resort to trying to discredit or undermine a politician solely because you are uncomfortable with what they have to say, what you are doing is discrediting yourself.
The former gaming board chairman says he has no interest in being a career politician and has accepted that he may only be in the House of Assembly for 5 years. However, he says he will not suffer fools.
If the PLP decides that they don't want me, I cannot force myself on the PLP. But I'm not about looking for political cover or trying to do what is politically expedient in the hope that I can be reelected, as some would suggest. But I don't have time to suffer fools. If you are doing nonsense, I will say so. And if you have a problem with me speaking my mind because I am echoing what the Bahamian people are saying and feeling, tough.
Tourism Minister Obi Wilchcombe and Agriculture Minister V. Alfred Gray have criticized Rollins for bashing his own party on the floor of the House instead of in a private setting. However, he says he wouldn't have to if his suggestions weren't ignored.
The frustration that I have experienced has been due to the fact that it's evident that my views and recommendations are falling on deaf ears. The fact of the matter is that a lot of times we hold, I can only recall one meeting of the parliamentary caucus attended by the Prime Minister. So when the Prime Minister wants to hear me, it's in the House of Assembly.
Rollins asserted that the PLP says it believes in Bahamians, but its actions thus far make it hard for Bahamians to believe in them. That being said, he says he is still a part of the governing party because he feels it has the capacity to affect change. Reporting for NB12, I'm Vonique Tude.
An attempt to start a fire by more than a dozen Cuban detainees at the Carmichael Road Detention Center is now under investigation by authorities. Defense Force officials confirmed 13 Cuban detainees were involved in the incident and say those detainees who rebelled will be questioned over the next few days. Jasmine Brown has the details in this report.
Today, Defense Force officials confirmed that the matter was solved quickly, but they say the investigation process is only just beginning. Deputy Commander of the Defense Force Captain Tullis Bethel confirmed the incident and said the group of 13 tried to burn down the dormitory. Without going into detail for security reasons, he says the situation was brought under control quickly and without incident.
We found out that the detainees, Cuban detainees, had attempted to set a fire, but our staff on hand were able to respond without any incident. And we also had very good support from the police, the local police.
Captain Bethel says the police force was integral in helping regain control of the detainees. Police reported they were called in around 9:30 p.m. after reports the group had become disorderly and attempted to destroy the premises. Bethel says while the RBDF is charged with manning the premises, they followed protocol and called on other law enforcement agencies to assist.
The Defense Force is primarily responsible for the security of the perimeter, and if there was something that was to happen, we have a protocol where we inform all relevant security partners.
Bethel says he could not go into detail about the matter, but confirmed it's still under active investigation. He says investigators are looking into whether the matter is isolated.
As far as the external security is concerned, we're always on top of our game with respect to that. Of course, as incidents occur on the inside, we are called to assist to help the immigration authority to stop what's going on. Investigations still continue. You know, our initial impression is isolated, but of course, as investigations continue, we'll see what other linkages exist.
Reporting for NB12, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Two pastors that led the Vote No campaign leading up to the 2013 gaming referendum are responding to the Prime Minister, who yesterday said the religious leaders can give him a passport to heaven. The pastors today telling NB12 if the Christie administration moves ahead with regulating web shops, it is setting itself up to be voted out of office. Kyle Joaquin has the story.
Stop making this about whether you have faith or not have faith. The issue is principle and integrity. Stand by your integrity. Be known for your integrity. Let the country see that you're a man of integrity. Your word is your bond. It is what it is.
Those are the words of Pastor Lyle Bethel to Prime Minister Perry Christie, urging the nation's chief to do his job and lead. Yesterday, Christie said, quote, Faith tells me that there is no minister of religion in the world that can give me a passport to heaven.
Now, these pastors insist that this is not just about web shops, but the survival of democracy. They say if there's ever an issue that they must speak on, then they will do so.
Christie was for the first time responding to the pastors since they wore all black in the House of Assembly during the first reading of the revised gaming bill. They said they were mourning the death of democracy. Pastors Lyle Bethel and Alfred Stewart pointed to the fact that if you were to look at the results of the 2013 gaming referendum, as you would with a general election, you would notice that only 2 constituencies, Bain and Grantstown and Centerville, voted yes, while the other 36 voted no.
That's the Prime Minister's seat and Bernard Nottage's seat. They're the only 2 of the constituencies that said yes. So technically, the only 2 people who can vote for this gaming bill in the House are those 2. Now, of the 2 of them, the Prime Minister cannot vote yes because he is the one who called for a referendum/opinion poll to be taken, and he wanted to know what the people said, and he said he would abide by what the people said. So that means of the 38 seats, only 1 person has the right and the moral integrity and the principle to vote yes. That means all the others must, if they truly represent the people of the Bahamas, must vote no.
Several PLP MPs have already voiced their disagreement with the bill, saying it's discriminatory. The pastors say if the government moves ahead with regulating web shops, it will be in for a sad surprise come election 2017.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. They've lost. And you know, you say statements like that, and they all automatically turn into an F&M, PLP political thing. But Bahamians are watching, and they can send their spin doctors out as much as they like and say black is white and white is black, and no, it's not raining. Your foot is not wet from the rain. It's actually quite dry. You can do that as much as you like, but Bahamians are watching. And I think they suspect that they have now ruined referenda to come.
I wish every person who vote in favor of this gaming bill, I wish they lose their seat and be replaced by men and women who, first and foremost, fear God and are willing to represent the people of this nation. For me, it's not a question of government or party. Each person, I said, who vote in favor of this bill, I believe, I wish that and I pray that the people would unseat them.
Pastor Bethel and Pastor Stewart say they can't speak for any other spiritual leaders, but that they will continue to speak out against web shop gaming. Reporting for NB12, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
Well, Deputy Prime Minister Philip Brave Davis has accused the Bahamas Christian Council of previously turning a blind eye to web shop activities and questioned whether members of that religious group are concerned about whether gambling proceeds make it into their collection plates. He also questioned whether some pastors have gambling accounts.
I wondered whether these same pastors that preach about the wrongs of gambling themselves have accounts or accept benefits from these gentlemen. The Christian Council continually confirms its opposition to the legalization of gambling. But to my recollection, as long as there was no attempt to bring order to this situation, everyone seemed happy to turn a blind eye. I know that their concern chiefly centers on the degradation of our society. But how many of them? And again, why should I have to be asking myself this question? Are they secretly concerned about what will not make it to the collection plates?
Davis says he asked himself these questions after he heard during his recent trip to Samoa some religious leaders sat in the gallery dressed in all black when the gaming bill was tabled to mourn the death of democracy in the country.
How many of them would have given thought to the fact that a significant number of members of their congregations are Bahamians employed with exemption certificates to gamble for the house in the casinos as croupiers, pit bosses, and supervisors? And again, why would they want to put us in a position to ask ourselves those questions of them?
Davis says while the government's decision to regularize the industry may make some people angry, he believes it is the right decision. He says the fact is the government would be hard-pressed to close down web shops. Well, dozens of patients anticipating to be served in various clinics at the Princess Margaret Hospital were turned away today after appointments were canceled because of a shortage of nurses. PMH Administrator Mary Lightbourne Walker told NB12 this morning around 10 a.m. they were operating on only 62% of their nursing staff because many of them did not show up for work.
But we have had to cancel some of the medical, surgical, and gynae clinics as a result of the action. We did not, and we could not get enough nurses to come in to cover those. We made a strategic decision to cover the inpatient services as best we can with the staff that we were able to procure over these last few days. So we did not want to embarrass inpatient services in any way, and we've done that. Cold cases would have had to be canceled as well. So we're managing as best we can with the professional cadres that we've been able to bring in to do that work.
Walker says the hospital staff was currently operating under emergency scheduling mode as a result of the strike, which according to a recent Supreme Court injunction should have already ended. According to the administrator, many patients that waited weeks for their appointments were given the nearest available dates. For some, that may be nearly a month.
It would depend on what was actually individually wrong with the individual, and that's why we would have the patient reps as well as the medical records clerks, along with, we've been having some of the physicians as well help to assist to redo those appointments. We don't want to give persons appointments too far out to even suit their emergent need or their medical management need. And so we've been trying to be as best to serve the public as we can without disadvantaging.
President of the Nurses Union, Jana Kalfani, said many of those nurses were ordered back to work this morning and should have been there, at least before this afternoon. She added the union is currently in ongoing discussions with the Minister of Labor. When NB12